requirement, but it'd be nicer. So anyway, I'd be glad to help you check your lights. I can't volunteer because that's reminding you to do it. But if you say, now I need to check my lights, will you stand in front of my truck? And then you direct me. You direct me left blinker, right blinker, four-way hazards, regular headlights, high beams. Send you to the side of your truck. Make sure your blinker and your four-way flasher works on the side. Back to the truck. You have your brake lights and your tail lights and your backup lights and your clearance lights. Clearance lights are also in the front. Clearance lights can be hard to remember because you don't have a switch for them. Everything else has its own switch. So remember that. Clearance lights need to be checked as well. Four-way hazards need to be checked front and rear. So you just direct me through your light check, and when you're done, I get in the cab and we continue on the rest of your cab inspection. Sound like a plan? All right. I don't know how you guys are all going to get in the cab of this truck, but I'm going to show you what we need on the inside. A couple people can get in.
Josh can get in.
The rest of you got to just hang around. At least one of you can come up here. I don't bite.
Video. You're gonna block the video.
When I first get in the cab, first thing I want to check is make sure my seatbelt is working properly. It's secured properly. Secured to the truck. Latches and unlatches the way it's supposed to. First sign of safety. After that, while I'm thinking safety, I want to talk about my 3 emergency triangles, which are stored right here. My 10 BC fire extinguisher, which is still in working order, and it's attached into my dashboard. And my spare fuses. There's my spare fuses. You're not going to find spare fuses in your regular trucks. The city of San Diego does not have to carry them because we work within a 100 air mile radius of our workstations, our repair shops, and we have the roll call service. So we don't have to carry them. But this license you're getting is for driving, period. So it's not restricting you to San Diego County. So anytime you leave the county, you need to have fuses with you. And they will, if this will remain on your test. You got to talk to me about the fuses. In the book, you're going to talk, there's fuse-E's as well. A fuse-E and a flare is basically the same thing. And those are basically the triangles. So fuses, flares, and triangles only gives you credit for triangles. These are fuses, all right? There's my safety. I'm gonna make sure that my mirrors are properly adjusted. I give my windshield a double check. I wanna make sure that my windshield wipers work. My windshield wipers are working properly. Okay. We already did the lights. You got credit for doing the inside of your lights while you were directing me on the outside. I want you to turn the engine on and read the gauges to me. I want you to say, right now they're not reading properly because the engine's just on accessory. Turn the engine on and then you can tell me my water pressure is currently at 150. My oil pressure is at 25 PSI in the normal range. My volts are at 14 volts. I'm at 700 RPMs, nothing on my speedometer. My air tanks are currently full at 130 PSI, and I have about a half a tank of fuel and 3/4 of a tank of DEF fluid. There's your gauges. Heater, air conditioner, heater and defroster need to be working. DMV does not care if you have an air conditioner or not, but you can check all 3. This here is an air supply to your trailer. If you don't have a trailer hooked up, you don't push in the air supply to the trailer. This one here is your air brake supply for your truck. When it's pulled out, the truck is sitting still from spring pressure. When you push it in, air goes through those lines and squishes that spring and allows the tires to roll. Let me see. Okay, am I forgetting anything in here? Horn. Gotta make sure your horn works. Don't want any more than 10 degrees play in your steering wheel. Do I have it all? Come on, somebody catch me on something.
What about the steering wheel adjustment? Like
What?
The steering wheel and the seat adjustment, the mirrors.
Seat adjustment I didn't talk about. Steering, how much play can you have? 10 degrees, all right. Mirrors have to be adjusted. Seat adjustment. I'm short. The seat's pushed up pretty far right now. All right, so brake checks. Let me do the brake checks. The first, it's going to be really hard to hear, but to actually do them, I do have to turn the engine on. You guys ready for that? I have to close the door also, or the alarm goes off. So we'll start with, everybody know safe start, diesel engines have to let the glow plug. So you want to turn the truck onto accessory, let it, the dashboard do its thing. Once it's done, then you continue to twist it over to the start. Got the truck started. I currently have my needles are not moving at all, so I currently have full air pressure. I want to do my cut in. My cut in this truck, can't hear. My cut in this truck has to happen by 100 psi. So I'm going to put my foot on the pedal. Oh, release some air. Now I'm at about 115 psi. And I want to give it maybe 1500 RPMs. See if my needle starts to rise. My needle's not rising, so I'm going to push a little more out. Up. Now I'm at 105 psi. At 105, I'm going to rev it up maybe 1500 RPMs. My needle is now rising. So my cut in was at 105 psi. Notice I had to watch the needle. I did not hear anything. Some of your fire trucks will give you an audible when that kicks in. This truck will not, so you've got to watch the gauges. Then I'm waiting for cutout. Maximum cutout is 130 psi. That tells you it's time to check the needle. The needle has stopped moving. We're cut out right at 130 psi. The next test is the applied test. With that one, you do have the engine off. You turn the key on. I do have to close the door. Keys on. This one takes multiple steps. Engine off, key on, parking brake off. Oh, because your door's open. We're just going to pretend. Okay, parking brake off, foot on the pedal. And you sit there and you hold it for 1 minute. In 1 minute, you cannot lose more than 3 psi. Those of you going for an A, it would be 4 psi if you include the trailer. So parking brake in, foot on the pedal, 1 minute. How much can you lose?
3 psi.
3.
3. What makes 4? Trailer. All right. Good job. All right. So we've done that. And now we're down to the L. The L is low pressure. You need to know if your truck springs a leak, if a hose breaks or something like that. You need to be able to react. So you want your truck to warn you that you just lost air pressure. And we're going to simulate that by pumping down the brake pedal until we hear an audio and visual alarm. That has to happen between 55 and 75 psi. So I'm going to pump the brakes down. Mine came on, it looks like about 65. So it's in the proper range of 75 to 55 on my audio and visual. When you hear this sound, you need to react. You need to get off the road, because the next thing that will happen is your emergency brake will pop out. Emergency brake is expected to pop out between 45 and 20 psi. And again, to simulate that, you do the same thing. You continue to pump the brake down until the emergency brake pops out. Once it pops out, you tell me where it pumped out at. And of course, I have to know between the 20 and 45 psi. All right. That would be the brake check. I know you couldn't hear it real well. I'll be glad, like I said, if you lose your papers, I'll be glad to send you more. Willie is a good resource. He doesn't train you guys do your training here, but he will answer all of your questions. You give him calls with any kind of questions, he can answer them for you. On your test, you have 2 additional brake checks. They're not mandatory pass or fail, but they are on your test. One of them is the parking brake test. You want to leave your parking brake on, have your truck on, ready to go, put it in drive, and make sure it doesn't go anywhere. Make sure your parking brake's holding it. The next one is you leave it in drive, push your parking brake in, allow your truck to move forward, and put your foot on the brake pedal. And that's how you determine that your service brake is working properly. All right. I forget anything? Anybody want to know what that strange piece of wood is right there?
It's a wheel block.
That would work for a wheel block. That's my footstool because I'm too short. All right. What do we got? Any questions? No?